Right, the story so far. A few months ago, I was given a Bell & Howell Director Series Zoomatic Standard 8 camera from 1966 that belonged to my grandmother, and I've been looking for a way to shoot some film on it. And this is the story of my attempts to do that, and it took me down some avenues I didn't even know existed. One interesting thing about this camera is that it's the same make and almost the same model as the one that Abraham Zapruder used to film the assassination of Kennedy, which I've been told is the most watched piece of film in history. Amazing. Anyway, the first priority is obviously to get some film in this camera. And you can still get 8mm film. It comes on 16mm strips, which are then cut down the middle to make two runs of 8mm. And this is integral to the way these cameras work. In fact, here's an older camera. This is an old Kodak Box Brownie kind of movie camera from the 60s. The film would come on a reel like this. You'd put it into one side of the camera and thread the film through to the other, and when you finished shooting on just that side of the film, you take this one, you flip it over, the film is double wide, you shoot one side, then you shoot the other side, and in between you change the reels. Now obviously this was too complicated for some people, so at the time that my grandma was shopping for a movie camera, my grandpa had one as well, but that was 16mm. I think she wanted this sort of sleek, lightweight, ladylike. I hope I didn't just break it. No, that was just the noise of the door shutting. So what they sold her in 1966 at Rumbelows or wherever the hell they went was one of these. Now, it looks a bit different inside. Instead of those big reels, it's just got these two kind of nipples, and you put a reel of film in there and try and wind it through, the thing's not going to sit right. Not only that, but you're not even going to have space for the take-up reel. So what did they sell my grandma? Well, Bell & Howell made their own system of cartridges. The only way I could get hold of one of these cartridges was to buy a new camera. Well, new to me. The deal with the cartridges, you would put your reel in the cartridges and then snap them up, stick that in the camera, and when you finished one side, you don't have to mess around too much. You just turn it over like an old style cassette and wind it through again. So here we go. So the cartridge just goes in there and shut it. Easy. And there's about 2 minutes on each side of these at 16 frames per second. I love this. This is the trigger when you're holding the handle, and when you pull it, just this mechanical little arm pulls down the switch for you. Okay, so I'm the proud owner of this. And I took it to Amsterdam and I shot a roll of Birmingham 100. Here's what that looked like. So now finally I had my Bell & Howell proprietary cartridge, and I could finally put it into my grandma's camera and shoot with it once more at a family gathering. Hang on a minute. Are you f***ing kidding me? Motherfucking piece of f***ing, what the f***? Two types of cartridges. 6 months later, after I got my camera repaired at the price of £2,000, I did a bit more research and I found out that these Bell & Howell proprietary cartridges only come with the type of camera that I bought with the cartridges. Who would have thought that? This camera, turns out, takes a different kind of cartridge, a Kodak cartridge. Same length of film, but preloaded. And the idea was the cartridge you would send back to Kodak. They would take your film, develop it, split it, send it back to you, refill the cartridge and sell it on again to someone else. Everyone's happy. Next time you go to the camera shop, you get another cartridge of Kodachrome, stick it in your camera, and basically it's like the other system, apart from the fact that you're not doing the loading and unloading of the cartridge. It's the simplicity of putting a cartridge in and turning it over when it's halfway, coupled with the lack of responsibility that you don't have to be the one loading the cartridge. That's someone at Kodak who does that. So, oh gosh, it's unboxing time, isn't it? Do not accept film if this seal is broken. Well, you can get a knife under this thing and just sort of open it like that, and later on I'm going to stick it back on, sell it to someone on eBay saying it's unopened. No, I'm not. I don't do those things. Right, inside the box is another box. Replace this pad in carton before returning film. It's not really a box, it's sort of some reusable packaging here, which is to keep your wrapped up cartridge safe. New, faster Kodachrome 2 film. In sunlight between f11 and f16, type A film, outdoors, use daylight filter. Okay, I'm not doing any of that because this film is so old that the rules do not apply anymore. Okay, now I shall now restage the moment when I got a whiff of 1963 Rochester, New York air, that amazing Kodak smell that comes out of all their cartridges first time. Ah, it's the smell of hope and freedom and things looking up, and early 60s optimism, and the Beatles, and it felt like the world will freeze. Okay, alright, here we go. Here's our money shot. Inside this is our cartridge, and the best part of it is this embossed bit here. This magazine is the property of Kodak. Well, come and get it, Kodak. I'm right here. Try your luck. I paid 25 quid for this. I'm not giving it up easily. Process K12. Well, good luck with that. Film price does not include processing. Okay, Kodachrome 2 type A film, process K12, and then it just repeats. Film price does not. So anyway, film is loaded up in here. And start with the first side, put it in like this. That's more like it. Okay, and it's ready to shoot. This Kodachrome 2 is very, very old, and I'm going to shoot it in as bright light as I can possibly find. And when it's finished, I'm not going to send it back to Kodak. I am going to develop it myself, and I'm going to reload it with more Kodachrome 2, and that's a subject for a whole other part, because that's a very tricky little job. Either that or the cartridge I've got is a piece of crap. I'm willing to go with the fact that it's me who's at fault here and who doesn't know what they're talking about. So all this has led me to, I have 3 standard 8 cameras now. I have the Zapruder. I have the one I bought just for its cartridges, which has actually turned out to be a pretty nice little working camera. And I got the old one that I got in a job lot last year, with which is really crude, but works. I've run film through this one and it works. Take heed, peoples, of the 3 types of standard 8 systems now. You've got your small cartridge made by Kodak. You've got your classic here with the 25-foot roll. You can get 50-foot rolls, I think, as well, and even maybe 100. Well, that might be onto 60mm territory. And then you got this, the Bell & Howell proprietary load-it-yourself-in-advance cartridge system. So now I've got to shoot stuff and work out how to process it. Now I could reload this with a totally new film and have a lot easier time processing it. But firstly, I have to shoot the film that's in there, which is Kodachrome 2, which is from 1963, which is also the year that Zapruder filmed Kennedy. So the film inside this might be from the very same batch as the most famous film ever shot. And I hope to do it justice. And I'm going to actually try and replicate the conditions under which Zapruder filmed Kennedy, because he was in a convertible from a certain distance away and much below him, because Zapruder stood on a column. And I'm going to find somewhere in London that gives me the same kind of vantage point, and I'm going to wait for a convertible to go past, and I'm going to film it. And I realise now I sound like a psychopath, or at the very least a JFK conspiracy theorist. But really, I'm just a fan of Abraham Zapruder, and I dedicate this 8mm adventure to Abraham Zapruder. Yeah? Alright, we're done in 2 minutes. Alright, I gotta go now. Okay, alright, so Zapruder, I'll talk about him a bit later, and I'll show you the film that I did shoot, because I'm all over the place here. I'm talking like I'm about to do it, and I actually did it, and it's a whole story, and there'll be more films about it. So until then, keep shooting, and I will be back later.